Last time we met, the Death Adder was attacking Eternia with his band of evil resurrected skeleton warriors with the power of the golden axe in his hand. But finally, the giant Titus, man-at-arms, the ex-battler with the red dragon, and Battle Cat with He-Man come to the rescue to fight against this evil, to defend the secrets of Grayskull, and to stop this menacing giant. But it seemed that the Death Adder and his powerful golden axe were getting the best of these allies. Who is it that will join them today, that will help fight evil and once and for all destroy this threat against Eternia? We're going to find out today in this review and episode 19 of figures, playsets, and accessories that go well with MOTU Classics and Revelation figures. Super Dave here with another exciting review in episode 19 of figures, playsets, and accessories that go well with MOTU Classics. And today we're taking a look at an exciting action figure. I'm very excited about this, and it is Goliath from the Disney's Gargoyles set. And wow, is this figure not amazing? This beautiful artwork on the box. There's a picture of the figure on the side. There's another picture of Goliath on the side, and there is some of the poses that he can get in and some of his accessories. Really cool. And there's a little write-up, bio write-up. If you'd like to pause and read that, you certainly can. And here is a picture on the inside. Look at that. Wow. Such an awesome. And there he is. Oh man, look at him inside the box. Just really cool with his accessories. We're going to break him open and check him out. Disney started this Gargoyles series as kind of a competition to the Batman, the animated series, in like the 1994 and 95 area, 1996. And I was actually in college then, so I missed this cartoon, and also I was at an age where I thought I'd moved past cartoons, only to get back into them when I was in my 40s. Collecting He-Man and Masters of the Universe Classics figures again, and now Revelation figures. And I'm always on the hunt for figures that I think look good with those figures. And of course, Gargoyles was a series and a line of their own in that animated series. Even the music was similar to the Batman, the animated series, but just such a cool mix. They had a cast, a star-studded cast with some big names in that cast, as well as about 3 or 4 former Star Trek actors, including Next Generation and Voyager. I know Captain Janeway was one of them. Data from Next Generation. And the counselor, and also Riker, the first officer. Man, just really cool. Had a mix of that adventure, modern day in the 90s versus mythic, mythos, and then also some heavy Shakespearean influence. Just some really cool stuff in that series. And so let's break open this Goliath and check him out. For those that are interested in that Gargoyles cartoon, you're going to enjoy this. And if you're interested in finding you a nice gargoyle that comes to life, that can go along with your MOTU Classics or Revelation, you're going to enjoy this as well. And he has come to help us rescue Eternia from the grips of the Death Adder. And here he is, Goliath himself. peering off the top of Castle Grayskull, down at where the battle has been ensuing against the Death Adder and his band of evil skeletons. That he's about to swoop down and join the fight with Titus, Men-at-Arms, the Axe Battler, his Red Dragon, He-Man, and Battle-Cat. Here he comes. Let's review him now. Goliath from the Gargoyles. He's an ally of He-Man. And here is our Goliath from the Gargoyles line, NECA's beautiful figure, Goliath. I'm telling you, they did a great job. I'm loving this figure. I was very excited about him, not because I'm a Gargoyles fan. Like I mentioned earlier, I missed out on that cartoon, but here's the thing. I'm glad that they didn't go, I know there's been some debate that they should have gone with a softer look, his muscularity, even though he was bulky and big in the cartoon, back in the Disney Gargoyles cartoon, and there's a picture of him. He was definitely big, but he was softer, not as ripped as Goliath here is. As you can see, look at just the veins, the pectorals, the neck muscles, shoulder muscles, biceps, leg muscles, those abs. I mean, his forearms, he's very ripped. But here's the thing, if they had gone with that look, like the vintage toy and like the cartoon, I would not have been interested in this action figure. And I think NECA was taking a bet that, hey, yeah, a softer, less ripped Goliath would look more like the animated series, but if we make him look like this, all of those who are Goliath fans from the Gargoyles will get him, and other collectors like myself will get him. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, those wings. I am disappointed that they're not posable, other than just shifting up and down and back and forth a little bit on the hinge that goes into his pegged back. That's it. I mean, it's hard plastic. There's a lot of cool detail and grain and shading and paint work on them, but they're just so rigid, and you're not going to be able to do any posing. I mean, very, very little. We'll look at that in articulation when it comes to the wings. And I would love to have seen, you know, the wings that were cloth goods that could have hooked on and wrapped around him, and then had this pair of wings to be the stretched out wings. But maybe there's some way they can do that, or someone can customize some and sell them for us. Who knows? But I'm telling you, this guy is awesome. His tail is bendable, and we'll look at that in articulation as well. So that helps prop him up. I am using one of my McFarlane little stands to help. He does have a peg hole in his front part of his foot, so he can stand on those tiptoes, kind of like he's reminiscent of doing it. He can also stand flat-footed. But look at how awesome he is. This guy is great, and he has come to the rescue to help Titus, the Axe Battler, the Red Dragon, He-Man, Battle-Cat, and Men-at-Arms fight against, yes, that's right, the Death Adder. We just reviewed him in episode 18. This is episode 19 of figures, playsets, and accessories that go well with MOTU Classics, and that's why I'm interested in this guy, because he goes well with MOTU Classics. That's what I'm thinking, and probably even with Revelation figures. You know, I'm going to make him a part of my Masterverse, and that's why I love this character. So let's first look at Goliath's accessories. And Goliath, first of all, comes with a set of extra hands, and these are some balled up fisted hands that he comes with in the same color. And there's some great detail to those fists. They look really good. See the vein work on the back? Just looks excellent. Great detail. So that's an extra hand. And he also comes with this, I would call it like a holding specific hand for holding his jalapeno pepper, holding his book, holding maybe even a weapon. But there's some great detail given to these hands as well. Just really, really good. And then as mentioned, and then he comes with this little jalapeno pepper, which is one of those scene specific, cartoon accurate little accessories that he comes with. And so those of you who watch the series who are big into it know exactly what that meant, and that's really cool that he likes jalapenos, or that he eats jalapenos. And he comes with one. That's cool. And then of course he comes with this really nice looking book. You can't read any of the writing, or at least it's not in English anyway, but there's some really neat like hieroglyphic looking scribbles on here. I actually got it upside down, sorry. You can tell because like look at the detail of this book. It's really cool. You can see that's where the title goes and the bridge of the book there. Some frayed edges, like almost like a leather, real, genuine leather type look with some frayed edges. And then the pages, just some really good detail to this book. I like having this as part of the collection, as well as for my MOTU. I can put it with my customed Scrollos, that McFarlane action figure that I made my Scrollos. You can check that figure out in one of the episodes. But here's this really cool book that Goliath comes with. And then finally, other than of course his tail and his wings, he comes with this awesome looking head sculpt. Just check out that head sculpt. Now in the cartoon, when they come alive and go in attack mode or whatever, their eyes kind of glow this white. They shade over, the eyes do. But you can see the detail to his teeth. Just really good detail. Great looking head sculpt. They really did a good job. And this hair, even though it is a thick plastic, it is posable, or it's bendable, I should say, pliable. So you can get that out of the way for the most part. We'll see that here in just a moment as we're about to look at Goliath's his articulation. For the purpose of articulation, I have removed the wings, but let's go ahead and take a look first of all at this first head sculpt. It is able to look up some, even despite the hair, or it may actually just kind of be more of a looking upright, but it is somewhat of a look up. You can tell that he's looking up some. And then he is able to look down all the way. That's very good, and being that he perches more than anything, that is going to be fine for him to look down more than he looks up. And then of course he'll be able to look straight ahead, look side to side, both directions, and these head sculpts are identical in articulation. There's no difference. If you pop that hair, you can see how it kind of will go back some. You can get even more of an upward gaze. I found that out. So you can kind of pop that hair up. It kind of will pop kind of inside out there on this part, and then you can lift that head a little bit further. So actually really good. And then you're going to be able to get good pivot. You see, when you pop this head off here, you have a ball socket for the neck and head, but also down inside of the neck you have another one. So that adds another range of articulation, which is actually really good. It's a big ball socket, nice ratcheted ball down in there. So that is excellent head articulation. Very nice for a premium type figure. Now, this figure comes in at about $34 to $40. $34, $32, $34, $35, $36, to up to $40 retail. He was about $36 at Target, about $34 I think on Big Bad Toy Store, but then you have to pay shipping. But anyway, this guy is really good for that price, in my opinion. Back to the articulation. Let's look at the arms. You can get those arms up about 90 degrees, so that's good. That's good for this, girth of a character with all those muscles in the neck and the pectorals. I mean, just look at the width there. That's just really awesome. All right. He will get full 360, and he does have true bicep swivel. Look at the details in those biceps. It's really, really awesome detail there. Really good. He does have pins, unfortunately. He has a little bit of a point there on his elbow, which is cartoon accurate. Just look at the detail of those triceps and forearms. It's really nice. Even in the back, And you see the peg holes there for his wings. We'll peg them in here in just a few moments. That'll be our last articulation that we look at. And then, of course, double jointed elbows. So check that out. I mean, really good range for those elbows, double jointed. So that's good on both sides. And then he gets hinges and swivel for his wrists on both sides. So really good. All right, pulling those on out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at his abs. And there is a diaphragm ball joint up in here, which is really good. You get really good range of motion, very good range of motion for the abs under the diaphragm. But mine was kind of frozen, but eventually when you put your thumb, because this is soft down here, but kind of hard and rigid up here around this area of that loincloth. So you kind of have to put your thumb right there, and you will be able to move at the waist as well. But he'll crunch forward a good amount and get his hair out of the way. You'll be able to crunch back a good amount as well, bend back a good amount as well. So that's excellent. Like I said, he will turn at the waist, and then you can also turn at the waist with the diaphragm and get some good motion. Just excellent articulation so far for this guy. For the legs, you're going to get full splits. Really cool. You're going to be able to kick up about that far. You're going to be able to kick back a good amount as well. You have single jointed knees, but they actually look good. They're very well hidden, that joint. I really like that. And it's also rotates at the knee. You have a knee rotation. So that's really neat. You also have a thigh rotation, a really good thigh rotation. Just look at those jacked legs. You have a good thigh rotation there. Now moving down, as you see, I've got his feet in the position for him to stand flat-footed. And you can do that if you want to. You can certainly stand him flat-footed with basically that heel claw and the three toes standing flat. And that's going to give him a really good foundation to stand with, where he doesn't really have to worry about falling over or anything. But he's more kind of known, if you will, for standing with those claws on the front. So you kind of bend it in this position, so you bend this down. And also there is a rocker at this point right here, but you bend that down, and then you bend his toe hinge, and you see there's where that peg hole is, as you can see. So if you have one of these, and I actually have some NECA ones, but I'm using them with the skeletons, you can peg just about any of those type things in. And then of course we need to get this one done that way as well. And he can stand more on his tiptoes, which is kind of a little bit more what he is known for doing. And you can use this tail, which is articulated. I'll go ahead and show you that while we're talking about articulation. You see the hinge right there. First, it will swivel after you plug it in slightly, but it'll also go up and it'll go down. Got a little bit of a lightning effect going on in the background. And it will bend there. So you can use that tail when he's in that type stand to see kind of prop him there. And that does help to keep him from falling, especially when you add the wings. But just a point of warning, because those wings are so brittle, please do not try to perch him anywhere high without using some kind of help to stand him up. I would not trust him to stand on his own, because he is just such a top-heavy figure, especially when you add those wings. But I hope you saw the feet. Let's go over that. Just make sure you have a good rocker joint at the foot here. And you also have the ability to go up about that high and then down all the way. And the same here. You can bend that up all the way or bend it down all the way. So just a lot of unique articulation for this guy's feet. But overall, just really, really cool. Really, really nice. All right, now let's look at the wing articulation. So as you see here, you're able to peg that peg right there directly inside of that peg hole. So when you pop that in, it goes in very nicely and sturdily. And then you're going to be able to ratchet that back about that far. And then all the way forward about that far. Go ahead and turn him around and show you that feature. So you're able to go back. Oop. Oh no, did I just break it? Okay, so I'm sorry to say that I actually just broke this one trying to bend it. So be very careful. That isn't QC issue, I think, like with that we have seen with these type figures, but just be careful. It ratchets that way, and then you can ratchet it one. He's supposed to be able to do another one, but I'm almost afraid to do it because this one broke when I tried to go back that next click, which it's supposed to have that next click. So I don't know. It's just, again, that brittle plastic. But see, this one, it's staying in, but it's broken. So I'm not going to be able to do some of the things that you're supposed to be able to do with it. Unfortunately, that's just my situation here, but hopefully you won't have that. You see, it'll move up this far, and then you can move it down that far, and even one more. So you can move it about 1, 2, 3 clicks that way. And again, 1, 2, 3 clicks that way. But when I clicked that third click on this side, it broke. So, and I thought I was being very careful. So that is a bummer. I was taking the head off just so you see it, fully. You can do it with the head on, of course, but it's just makes it a little bit more difficult to see what's going on because of the hair. But that hair is pliable, so it will get out of the way. But there you go, and I trust and pray that yours will not break when you try to pose him. So just be very careful when you're clicking those 3 ratchets. All right, now let's look at him holding some of his accessories. And there's Goliath reading his book that he comes with, and that looks really good. He's looking cool. He's reading and checking out whatever it is that he's reading about. He's interested in it. Maybe he's reading a story, catching up on the Masters of the Universe. Cool. Love that book. Those kind of accessories are just really neat. And then finally, his fingers are perfectly positioned for him to hold that bell pepper, or I should say jalapeno pepper, I'm sorry. So he's checking it out, looking at it. It's like, okay, guess I'm getting ready to eat this thing. There he is. He's able, his fingers are perfectly positioned for him to hold that. So that, that hand is definitely, he's left-handed apparently, but it's just right for him to hold it in his left hand, the jalapeno pepper, as well as that book in his left hand. And with that other head sculpt, you can even make it look like he's about to take a bite of that jalapeno pepper. So that looks cool. Looking good. He's just really a sharp and cool looking action figure. Okay, and so this wingspan totals in here at just around from tip to tip, about 22 inches total. Okay, and on his tiptoes, Goliath stands right at the top of his head, 8 inches. That's on his tiptoes. If you measure his wings spread that direction, it measures in about 8.5 inches at the tip of that little first claw. And then with him standing flat-footed, he stands right at the 7.5 inch mark, flat-footed. You can see it right there. Yep. The top of his head, 7.5, and then the top of that claw on that side, let's see about this side, One's a little higher than the other, but anyway, it just depends on how you pose those wings. But as far as flat-footed, the top of his head is 7.5, and on his tiptoes, 8 inches. So cool as they're coming in here to fight the Death Adder. And Goliath is certainly a match for this giant. He grabs the golden axe. He's strong. The Death Adder is shocked. Battle Cat and He-Man are backing him up. Looks like the Axe Battler is holding his own with the skeletons. And even Titus is coming in for some of the action. And Man-at-Arms back there. They're coming in. But just take a look at how good that Goliath looks. Just really, really cool. Awesome. Now let's do some comparisons. And our first comparison here is Masters of the Universe Classics figure, Evil Lyn, with our Goliath Gargoyle. Now this is the Evil Lyn that's patterned more after the 2000X Mike Young series, but I like this one at the best, and she looks great. And then here's Goliath next to our Masters of the Universe Classics He-Man with the vintage style head. He's in that 7-inch scale, and he's looking great beside Goliath. In my universe, Goliath is definitely going to remain a good guy in this one. I know I made Devil Man a bad guy, but this Goliath is going to be an ally to Eternia and the Masters of the Universe and He-Man and everyone, and the Axe Battler. And that is awesome looking. I mean, he is going to be able to fly in at night and help our heroic hero He-Man. And getting the Revelation action figures in on the action, here's our Revelation Skeletor, and he is looking great next to Goliath. Again, that 7-inch scale. They look great together. They have a color scheme similar there, and but they're not going to be allies. They're going to be enemies. And I believe that even Goliath could kick some skelly butt. What do you think? That looks good. And then again, with another Revelations action figure, we have Skelly God. And God Skeletor is looking great next to our Goliath here. And they are actually almost toe-to-toe in height. Not too far off if you consider Skelly God's helmet height. I mean, just a few millimeters maybe off there. But they look great beside each other, I think. And they would be a good matchup fighting each other. And here is our Goliath next to our MOTU Revelation He-Man, the one that I've done a little bit of custom paint work on. And I think they look great together. And he's wearing the Ultimates Faker, Revelation Faker head there, that alternate head, which I think looks better than the one that came with the Revelation He-Man. And I think that Goliath, as they will be allies in my Masterverse, they're going to be on the same team. Goliath's going to fight with the Masters. I think they're looking great together here. Awesome. And comparing just a little bit of a action figure with some wingspan going on, it is our 4 Horsemen Mythic Legion Crowman. I call him Crowman. He has those awesome stretched out. They are actually articulated, broken there in the sense of breaking up here where this can bend right here at this joint on both sets, which wish they had done something a little bit like that with our Goliath. But because of the way his wings are done, I can see why that would be difficult. They'd have to kind of cross over and overlap a little bit to do it, even though these do that as well. But when you spread them out, they look pretty good together. Still, Goliath's taller, but there is our Goliath next to a Mythic Legions 4 Horsemen Crowman. And sticking with our Mythic Legions, here's one of our Cyclops type orcs that came with Mythic Legions, and they look great together. Actually, the orc is just a little taller, especially with that helmet on. The orc is just a little bit taller, but they would be a good matchup, and they're looking great side by side. And getting a McFarlane's figure in here, This actually is a McFarlane's figure that I use in my Masterverse as Scrollos. Scrollos was like an orator who wrote down and recorded history of all the things that happened in Eternos mythos. And then here is our Goliath next to Devilman. I mentioned him earlier, and he had a lot of articulation to his wings. But of course, that's a Figma figure that's priced over $100. You're talking about Goliath, who's priced under $40. So, I mean, when you compare the quality of these two figures, you're going to have more quality in the Devilman, more functionality like with these wings, a lot of special features. But when you think about bang for your buck and plastic, I mean, Goliath looks incredible. I'm very happy with his value. And here's our Goliath next to the Axe Battler. Really haven't seen them side by side, even though they've been fighting on the battlefield back there together throughout this video at different junctures. Wanted to show you them side by side. They really fit in great together. These Storm collectible figures and Goliath really do look great together. Really liking this matchup here. Awesome. And getting back to Storm collectibles, here is another really cool matchup. I think these look great together. Goliath and our Storm collectibles Ares. They're looking awesome. They're actually almost height to height, you know, scale to scale, a good matchup. And thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave's Fun Review today. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And stick around for some photos in the photo gallery of Goliath. It's been fun. Be blessed.